should the game review process be regulated? And my counter question is, how would you regulate it, and who would regulate it?
Yeah, that's a big question, because again, every single game journalist right now, from the biggest guy to the smallest guy, like our buddies on the coalition, all dependent on getting these games. So that would mean that every single person gets every single game at the same amount of time. That's the regulation that should happen, but it doesn't.
But again, who would be in charge of that?
Again, yeah, who would be in charge of that? Because the thing about it is that every single representative of a different studio has a different priority, and they're going to obviously want to get something on an IGN faster than they would, to be honest, on a coalition.
Yep, that's just how it is. Go ahead.
Who's the entity that does the whole ESRB stuff?
They don't regulate game reviews.
No, they don't. They only do ESRB only handles the
game.
ratings.
Now I'm gonna give you guys some insight into this shit, right? Companies like Capcom, Square Enix, whatever, they do not give out reviews. There's some exceptions, obviously, but for the most part, they do not give reviews out directly. They have PR companies that give these codes out, right? And the PR company decides who gets codes when, right? But the game companies also decide when they're going to put these things out. So it would have to take a concerted effort for every game company and every PR company. There's a lot of PR companies to all come together and say when something's going to happen. That's not going to happen at all. I'm
thinking that the only way that this could happen is if the reviewers, and obviously the big guys, the IGNs, the Colin Moriarty's, and like everyone, like the review, like they stand up to these companies and say, hey, we're gonna review your games, but we need some written rules somewhere where it's like we need to follow some guidelines where it's a level playing field for everyone. And obviously, I don't think that's ever gonna happen because most of this stuff negatively affects the little guy.
Yeah.
And obviously, IGN is not in that situation, so I don't think they'll ever stick up for someone that's not.
No, because
they see beneath them.
Because they want the numbers. They want to be the first one to get the scoop.
Yeah, IGN is not going to stick up for the little guy. They're sticking up for IGN.
That's precisely the reason why a lot of times whenever the little guys start to essentially find something that the big guys scoop out, find something that the big guys didn't scoop, right? Didn't have enough thought to look out. That's when a lot of the little guys get their big break. Right?
If the big sites bother to even cite them.
Yes, if the big site, which was a problem with a lot of the sites that we have sort of worked at, where essentially some of these guys come in and just literally rip off a story or and not even give an original link to the quote.
I've told the story on the air before. I'm going to do it again for the new listeners, right? This was back when I wrote for SCFU and Play, and I was watching TV. This was like almost 2 a.m., right? And they had a what's the name of the tire company again? Anyway.
Oh, Bridgestone.
Bridgestone. So they had a Bridgestone commercial, and the actor, who was Kevin Butler, was on there, right? And I know, and this was already a bit of a controversy because he was on there promoting the Switch, right? Was it a Switch or the Wii? One of them. The Wii. So he was promoting the Wii, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, hey, they took the Wii out. It's gone, So I DVR'd it, recorded it, right? And I just recorded it with my phone. And I, wrote a story for it, and I sent it over to Torrance, our editor-in-chief, and we posted it, right? And I joked with him. I'm 6 months into the industry right now. I joked with him, like, yo, watch. This was on a Thursday, by the way. I joked with him, like, yo, watch by Saturday, Kotaku's going to steal the story. Guess what happened? Kotaku stole the fucking story, right? So they posted it as their own. If you click on the video, it leads to SCFU and Play's YouTube, no citation whatsoever, right? Torrance goes on Twitter, he goes ballistic. He's tagging Steven Totillo, yelling at him and shit, Torrance being Torrance, right? What I did was I tagged the guy who wrote the story I'm forgetting his name right now, and I very respectfully said, "Hey, listen, man, I did the story. This is me. That's my phone right there. Can you at least cite us, please?" And he eventually did. But that happens a lot, sniping. I know it's a bit of an aside there, but again, the big sites only care about little sites if they could get something out of them, and they are not going to give credit. So just bringing it back around. Some kind of unity in the gaming industry when it comes to reviews and getting anything early, that ain't happening. The big sites do not want the little guys to get that shit. You've seen it yourself. Some of these guys are like, I think it was our boy Luke Plunkett. He's like, why are these little guys at E3? They're just taking up space. It should be the big guys.
That's one of the things. Luke said literally around the time when we first started doing stuff for STFU and Plays. Like, why are all these little guys?
Yeah, independent journal. Why are they here? They're just eating up. Yeah, like come on, man.
That also came with the swag thing, because essentially they're saying they're there for the swag.
Yeah. Yeah, he was saying like, all these guys just come here for swag. They don't care about like they're just taking up space and shit.
Was that during the?
Oh, go ahead.
Was that during the Hip Hop Gamer incident?
Yeah, I think it was. We're not gonna mention that. I know what you. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, that shit was funny when that shit happened.
But it kind of sucked especially when we're starting to get our feet wet inside of the industry. You literally have a big asshole at the top saying, we don't want you here. Yeah. But what was really good about a lot of that was when we talked to what was his face?
Daniel Kaiser.
Daniel Kaiser, stupidly great guy. Like literally talked like I don't know if he has history going back doing independent like journal game journalism, but he's like guys this is the time he's like seeing you're the new guys out there, just getting your feet wet, but he's like E3 is definitely the place that you can make a name for yourself and your site. And what happened not long after that? STFU and Play, which Tony's wearing the shirt right now, right there, represent. Literally, we had one of our biggest years that year.
E3 was really big for us that year. That blew the site up.
It was like 2013, right?
Yeah. By the way, and I love this part, right? So one of our insiders a month beforehand, right? He leaked to us. And we posted the story that Final Fantasy Versus 13 was going to be renamed Final Fantasy 15. Kingdom Hearts 3 wouldn't be announced at E3. We posted that shit on YouGov. Everybody laughed at us. Look at these fucking clowns, man, making shit up, Yo, they look real stupid when those stories came true, And they had to give us props, But, the point is, you're never going to get consensus in the game industry because the big guys up top loathe the little guys. They will never cooperate. That's just a fact. So a review game process ain't gonna fucking happen ever. That's just the way it is. And again, even these companies, game companies, they like the little guys, but they're kind of just like, throw them a bone. That's how it is, man. It's how it is.